Okay, this is kind of a unique week, and that we're already moving on to Chicago. But I know this is the first day back for you guys from the opener. So turn my brain around here. Looking at the game, it was really an enormous missed opportunity for us to do something special and get that win. And in this case, there's a lot of stuff you look at, to try to determine what the issue was, but really we didn't finish. We got ahead in the fourth quarter and didn't hold it on defense and didn't get what we needed to get done on offense, and allowed them to move the ball, eat up enough clock, and get our timeouts out of the ballgame. So the chance the last time we had the football wasn't enough for us to get the win. So we got to finish better, and that means playing right long enough to win the game. And we let them run the football a little bit at us. We didn't convert on third down on the offensive side, and it was enough to let those guys get a heck of a good win for them. And they played great. They did a lot of good stuff, and tough team, and in a challenging setting, as we know. And so what we look at is, where do we need to go to make sure we get back on track so that we can finish right and play better so that we can get out ahead. And we gave up a couple big plays in this game on defense that were just terrible for us and for touchdowns that really were just mistakes. And so that's easily cleaned up and we can avoid that if we do right and have a good week and deploy our guys well and all that. So really missed that opportunity, and it would have been a great one to get to start this thing off.
What's the status on Doug?
He's really going to go a few days at a time here. Let's see what happens. We'll wait and see. We don't know yet. It could be a couple weeks. It could be a couple weeks, and we'll find out. He's as tough as you get, and we'll need to wait. He just got his stuff. He's getting the science back, and we'll find out in the next couple of days what that means.
Was the report of an MCL tear accurate?
We didn't report that. I don't know where that came from. That's not really the answer that you asked for, right? He did have. There's MCL issues, yeah. Whatever it is, I don't know what it is beyond that.
Was that almost in some ways a little more positive than it could have been, or is that?
Yeah, he'll be able to get back from this. Yeah, he'll come back from it, and it just depends. We got to see it through. It's really early in the year. We got to take care of him and look after him first and foremost, and then we'll only do what he's capable of doing, and with the okay from the docs too.
How about KJ Wright?
We're going to see. We're going to see what happens. He is running, and so he's back to moving and all that, and he's had a really clean rehab in the short time he's had. He's very positive about it, but I can't tell you what that means for the weekend. I don't know that yet.
Baldwin's injury, how important is it for guys like Lockett, Brandon Marshall to kind of step up?
Yeah, well, of course, even in the game, that it's necessary. Even that first game when he steps out, we're very happy with what Brandon did in the game, and he showed that he was ready to play and answered the call. Could have had a couple touchdowns in the game, but contributed. Locke obviously had a big contribution as well. We'll see more out of David and John Brown too. Those guys are out there battling, and you probably saw that we brought Keenan Reynolds up to for insurance. He's played the same spot that Doug's played, and so he'll give us some at least. The next guy in if we need him for this weekend.
How much shuffling did you have to do when Doug went out to mix positions around and change how you were trying to work?
What happened in the game is Tyler played a lot. He played all but one play in the game, so he played almost the whole time, all but. And so it does affect you some. And of course, Doug is the guy that we use on third downs in the slot and to do all the stuff that he does. And obviously, we didn't perform well on third down, and that we didn't respond as well as we'd like to without him. And he's been a key player there for a long time, so it did affect us.
Could CJ, with his receiver experience, be a factor there?
We've been talking about it. He does have the background, a couple years in college.
How would you kind of evaluate Russell's game when you look back at how he kind of performed?
We missed some. Yeah, we missed some chances. And there was a couple. He tried to escape to make something happen on a couple downs there that fell right into sacks, easy sacks for them. Because it wasn't because of the pass protection necessarily. It was because he moved and flushed off the routes that got covered up, and Lafetti had his guy roaring way around, and Russ went right into him. That happened. So we had some different reasons why we got pressured, and it kind of spread around the board. We've been pass protecting so much better than that, and I think that we'll make a good turnaround on that. But in this game, it happened to be that Russ fell into a couple, missed a couple shots, missed a couple third down thoughts that we had that could have been better. So he said it too. He could have played better. He did a lot of good things too, and gave us a chance to win the football game. We're right there at the end of the game. And, I think it's hard to turn away. He drops the snap on the in the 2-minute drive there at the end, and so that's frustrating for him and all of us and all that. But so he did some good things, really good things, and then he also had some plays, like he always will. And in particular, when we got against those guys rushing the passer as they did, they were able to get us a couple times that normally we would think they wouldn't.
You got 3 interceptions from your safeties. Just how'd those two play? Obviously, they haven't been together a lot during practice.
Yeah, they did really well. We missed the other one too. Right off the bat, Earl makes a terrific break on the ball, knocks the ball up, and BMAC had the ball in his hands. He could have had a third one on that day. So the guys did a really nice job, and they made their plays and they needed to for the most part, and all that. I wish both those guys would have got the big play that went for the touchdown. We should have got them on the ground on that play, but you hope your safeties get that done. But after we broke down earlier, but they played good football. I made the comment to the team. I thought they really came through.
Talked about Russ, but what did you see out of the offensive line specifically?
We're never going to say they did well when there's 6 sacks on the board, but they weren't responsible for all that. I thought, and I understand that on the broadcast, all they could do is talk about Fetty. Jermaine played okay in this game, and I don't know what the guy went in thinking that he didn't play very well or whatever, wasn't going to play very well. But he did a nice job on a lot of stuff. But we weren't quite as clean as we need to be on a couple pickups, and so you saw them take advantage on a couple stunts that we should really block up. We've been blocking up all camp and we missed it. So they can play better too. I think our protection is better than it's been. 6 sacks doesn't show you that. But the 4-man rushes that they did, we did very well on, and we'll be able to clean some things up.
Considering what you just talked about regarding the sacks and cleaning things up, can you just talk about the challenge of facing now one of the best pass rushers with Khalil Mack there in Chicago?
Yeah, well, we just faced one of them too. They're pretty good. He couldn't have had more impact in the amount of plays he played the other night. And he's a phenomenal player. So he causes you all the problems you can imagine. And so it's kind of similar emphasis for us, coming from kind of the same spot over there, and we'll see if we can take care of them.
I think you said after the last preseason game, asked about the defense concerns. You said it sounded like you said the back end was kind of what you were most concerned about going forward, given what the secondary achieved. Has your attitude on that changed much?
No, I thought both corners played well. Trey got his first chance to start in the real game, and he came through and played good football. They caught a ball on him on a great play, great throw and catch. Shaq played solid, and both the safeties were very active. So that was a real positive for us in the game. So I thought those guys did a nice job. We need to help them out a little bit underneath. We had some problems underneath stuff, but it was a strong performance. Really, I guess the guy you're looking at, since all the other guys are the starters from end of last year, was to see how Trey did, and he held up and was tough and consistent. He was very poised about handling it. He was very similar to how you've heard me talk about Shaq, a year ago, handling his first opportunities to start. He seemed very comfortable with it and was ready for the action and responded well during the game, was clear and could communicate with them. All those good things that we're looking for. So he competed really well, and it's a good sign.
Said after the game, I think the quote was, "All I can do is put the best product out there as possible, protect myself until I do get paid." How do you interpret that?
I think the same way we're trying to protect him too. We're trying to take care of him while he's rounding into shape and all that. I mean, he's had 3 days of practice, and got to make sure that we spelled him in the game some, maybe not as much as I told you, as much as we thought we would, but. He's just got to get his feet on the ground. He's got to bounce back this week. He's got to come back from the stress of that game physically and all of that. So I think he's just moving into it and trying to make sure that we're taking the right steps properly.
you think of the defensive line and the pass rush?
We didn't rush the passer very well. We didn't come off on. They had a lot of play passes in the game that we got stuck on the line of scrimmage. Some I know Clint Hurt was talking to the fellas about it. That we have to make that transition from the run game to the passing game. But whenever we give up as many yards as we did by the end of the game on the ground, it's not good enough for us. We don't expect that to happen. We gave up 50 yards or something in the fourth quarter or whatever it was, and that didn't help us finish the game. It's one of the issues of the game.
Was there a miscommunication on the touchdown to Lindsey in the first quarter?
Yeah, we made a mistake there. We made a real mistake there. Yeah, we didn't do it right.
How did Shaquem Griffin play, and was Calitro coming in the plan, or was that a need move in the second?
Yeah, going into the game, just because of the setting and all that, the plan was to play, but he played more than we probably had planned, and Austin did pretty well, and Griff had some problems on some stuff. There were some things that happened to him. It wasn't quite as clean as we'd like. Got fooled on a couple things, but he played hard and played tough and all of that. It's just first game trying to figure it out, and even through preseason, he's had a lot of reps, but stuff happened to him for the first time in this game that hadn't happened before, and didn't always see it the way he needed to. So it's a difficult transition that he's making. It's a lot to do in a short amount of time, and they had a nice offense. They did some nice stuff, and he wasn't quite where he wanted to be at times. So we'll just keep going, we were kind of in a situation. We'll find out during the week how the guys play and how they do and how practice goes, and we'll see what we're going to do about playtime.
The run game, what did you see there with Chris and Rashad?
Chris, I thought, looked really good. He was really aggressive and did what he could with the plays he had. Rashad looked a little rusty to me, and when I visited with him about it, I think we really only had one good week of practice, and it coming back, and it wasn't enough. He needs more work, and he wasn't as responsive as he's been earlier on before he had to sit out for a while. And so he's going to work real hard to make sure that he's ready to go, and we'll work him in. We love the chance of getting him in there. We're going to keep looking for it. But Chris really took the lead in the position after that game, and Rashad's going to right now they're going to alternate, and we're going to keep working those guys and see how they do. But Rashad needs to get back really primed up like he was about a month ago.
When you see 14 rushes and 55 offensive plays, what kind of...
Not enough.
Why do you think that wasn't enough?
It goes... Well, we were behind a lot in the game, but that's not the reason. The reason was we didn't convert on third down. It's just football, 2 of 12, and that leaves you where you don't get your next series, you don't convert, and we really missed. There was 4 third and 5 or lesses that every one of them should have been conversions, and that changes the complexion of everything about the game and the play calling and all that. So, but after all of the stuff we just talked about, and I know I went through the same thing with the club. We're heading the fourth quarter, ready to go take a game over in a very difficult situation, and there's something about that we need to understand, that we had a chance to hang in that game because of the plays that were made and all that, and there's so much good room to clear things up and to get better and all that, and we come out of it with an understanding of that, and hopefully we'll be able to get that done.
When you're facing elite pass rushers like Mack and Miller, does that cause you to change things with pass pro, like fullbacks and tight ends?
There are things that you can do. There's a number of ways. You can help with different players on the tackles. You can move the line that direction. You can get the ball out real quick. You can do a lot of stuff that's kind of the classic things that you do against special pass rushers, particularly guys on the outside. And and even when you do it, sometimes the really good guys, they find their way. And there's it's the challenge, and so we'll be challenged again this week with Khalil. He's an incredible ball player. So you have to do. There's no one way to do it. You have to do it a variety of ways, and that's really what we will do.
What makes Max so good?
He's extraordinarily explosive. He's really fast. He's really instinctive. He's a real natural player. So he takes advantage of. You saw him the other night take advantage of situations that he was in. He wasn't always in the best position, but he still could come up and make a play or make something happen. And it's all of to be as good as he is, to be the player of the year or whatever in the conference. In the league, you have to have all of the attributes, and he has them. He's speed, strength, explosion, savvy, motor. He has all that stuff, and he's just getting in shape too. So he's going to get better.
Denver got 3 points takes off 6 possessions following punts. Is that a pretty clear illustration of what field position can do when you have a punter doing
Yeah,
that?
it's a pretty remarkable factor we had in this game, and with Michael, he did a great job. And our coverage teams, other than the one time when we got, they held us, but were terrific to go along with it. So that punt team, I mean, that's not just a good punt team. That was a fantastic factor. When we put the ball, I think, on the 2, 6, 10, 11, something like that, 4 different times. And we were kicking from our end of the field, too, to get that done. So, it's really something to look forward to growing with and trying to make sure that we can utilize it. We kicked him back deep and we let him out of the hole, too. We got to make sure and take advantage of that. It's a great asset, and he did a great job.
We've asked you in the past about the line between Russell scrambling, making big plays, and then staying in the pocket, throwing on time.
Yeah.
How's that line changed with Schottenheimer, the new offense, and what you're trying to do now?
That doesn't change that much, because if it's Russ goes when he has to go for the most part. He goes when something breaks down, or he, the coverage takes over the routes, and so he has to find extra time. We bank on Russell moving. We bank on his scrambling ability to the touchdown pass to Brandon, and that's the kind of stuff that he does. But there are times in particular, and I know Russ would tell you that on third down, he's going to compete for that down, and he's not going to just throw the ball away and go ahead and kick the ball. He's going to look for another opportunity, and sometimes that bites you, and it did a couple times. We will always work at him understanding where the rush is coming from to try to make the best choices, but that's the ball player he is. We're not taking that out of him. Excuse me. When the protection is really solid, he ain't going anywhere. He's not taking off to run. He never thinks that way. But when stuff breaks down or a side of the protection really collapses, he's going to utilize that space and if necessary, to try to make something really good happen, whether he's running or throwing the ball. So that hasn't changed.
Yeah, every year is different, every roster's a little bit different, but this was the first regular season game in a while that you didn't go out there with this high-profile core vocal guys that have been around here for so long. Did it feel different, or how was it different, I guess, for you?
That's a good question. It didn't feel different. No, we're really so far beyond that because we're with our guys, and these guys are our guys now, and all. And we had really good juice, and we played really hard and played tough throughout that game. We played better in the second half than we did in the first half under those circumstances. And it is a difficult circumstance now, and there's no doubt about it. When it was hot early and all of that, the guys really had to fight through it, and they did. And we came out stronger, and we played better, and so guys were rallying for the guys and the plays that were being made, and a couple new faces. B. Marsh makes a couple big plays in there, and it's the first time they had a chance to really jump up for him. And even with Michael and his plays, and they're fired up for Earl, coming back and making his plays. So it really goes all through the spectrum. But I don't think it's it doesn't feel like we're missing something. It feels like we got a whole new thing that we're doing with these guys, and it feels good.
Janikowski's missed a couple of kicks the last couple of weeks. Any theme to that, or any concern about that?
No, it's unfortunate. That was a big kick in the game, and he had 2 shots at it too, which was kind of unusual that it even happened like that. But there was really no explanation for it. He had nothing. He just mishit the first one, and then the next one he hit really well, and the ball just moved a ton. And there was the wind was coming this way, and it took off left, and unfortunately, so the 2 kicks were different kicks. He didn't kick them the same, but unfortunately, it didn't go.
Pete, was there any thought to going to Denver earlier than you guys did to acclimate to the altitude, or is that?
Yeah, we understand that that's exactly the wrong thing to do. That's what we've learned, science-wise or whatever. We've been taught that. So, our guys are fine. Our guys competed fine. Some guys handled it differently than others, and had a couple guys get sick, early in the game, and then they came back and they were okay. But for the most part, it wasn't a big factor. It is a factor, but it wasn't the factor that changed the game, I don't think. However, in the first game of the year, they do something. Something's going on. There's some magic going on for them, in that opener, and that's why we wanted to take advantage of that opportunity, because we had a chance to knock that, whatever that stigma is or something, about playing there in the opener. We wanted to get that if we could.
What does the science say?
That it doesn't help you. You can't acclimate that fast. There's nothing. It actually has a bigger factor when you feel it in a couple of days.
You mentioned the rest
yards in the fourth quarter. I mean, could that have been a factor in that, or was there just other factors that led to that?
I would look at it as execution, you know, and more than the guys were. Everybody was fighting, and scratching, and all that. The execution wasn't as good. Could it? Yeah, maybe. You know, something's going on for those guys. You know, something's going on.
How encouraged were you by just Will in his performance right out of the gate?
Oh yeah, that was really fun. That was really fun to see him come through like that, and to see, you know, it's hard to tackle a guy who weighs 270 pounds running down the field. You know, and, it was big catches too, good tough catches. You know, and he's showed us that he's got really good hands. We don't have any problem with that at all. He runs good routes, all of that. We have thought of him as coming in here to, you know, to be the Y and be physical and all that, and thrilled by the way. I think I've said this along the way that he is a good catcher. He's got good hands and he's got a good feel for it. And I think he's going to get better. Had he mishandled a couple balls in this first game or something, I would have understood that, but he didn't, and he came through in great fashion. And Russ knows he can catch the football and he can put it in different spots for him. He's got enough flexibility that you know, he has a good catching range. So I think it's a really positive for us.
The catches are what obviously flash to everybody, but how do you do it? Just blocking all the
He
stuff?
did really well. Yeah, he did real well. And at the point of attack, you know, he was strong. So his whole game was really good. He did a nice job.
Unlikely Doug plays on Monday.
It's going to be a you know, pretty big accomplishment if he could turn around and play in a week's time.
Their touchdown that they reviewed, do you have any different view of that? And
You know, it's an interesting question, and the game's over, and no belly can forget about it. But when you look at where the pylon is, which is out of bounds, on the TV copy that I'm looking at after the game, the shading of the grass isn't the same right there, and it was really difficult to tell where his foot was. His foot was on the pylon to us, you know, which means it's out of bounds. But look at it again and look and see how the white line in the other little shading in there. There's a little discrepancy in there. It looked like that could be the TV. I don't know, but you know, his foot was real solidly even with that pylon, but maybe it was in. I don't know. Maybe it slid to that point. I don't know. So. One guy really saw it clearly and then got talked out of it. And another guy really saw it clearly and talked him into it. And it turned it to a situation where the decision was it was a touchdown. They would have had to challenge it. It would have been interesting. With the looks you could see, would they have challenged that play had they called it, if the original call of incomplete stood? I don't know. I don't know what they would have done. But it was really a difficult one to tell, and they couldn't tell. They had enough discrepancy. They had to go to the replay, and then the replay they came out pretty strong. But I don't, you know, when they came out of it, they thought they saw it. But when we looked at it, even at the end, you know, we were surprised.
How do you think JR did, and is DJ, what's his status for this week?
DJ's working to get back. I can't tell you. It's the same kind of with these guys. We're gonna have to go day to day and see. We're lucky we have an extra day that'll help us in a night game and all that kind of stuff. But he wants to play, and we'll see what happens. I'm not sure about that one yet. Wait and see. Jared played a good, solid football game. Missed an opportunity on one of the sacks, you know, on a game coming off. Had a penalty in there that was a big play too. So he had a couple plays that worked against him. But all in all, he played very well at the line of scrimmage. He pass pro'd well. All his one-on-ones, he did a nice job and came off the ball well too. So it was a real positive. He did a good job the first time out.
In your experience in the replay era, how often have they switched the call on the field before it goes to the booth like that?
That doesn't happen very often. I personally really encourage those conversations. I think that's the good thing to do. They should work together on that. And this one, it didn't work out for us, but you know, they use all of they have available. It's like in all those decisions, like is the ball clearly overthrown and those kinds of things. I like it when the guys, you know, have their input and all that, and they talk it through and figuring that they'll figure it out best when they do it that way. You know, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Oh, and Deion Jordan, could he play more than 15 snaps, you think, this coming week?
He came out of the game really well. He definitely will be able to play more than that second time out. You know, one other one. Just you guys didn't ask the question, but you know, you could ask this one. You know, what happened on the replay on the fumble? That was interesting how that one happened because if you remember they were hurrying up. I think we talked about it the other night, but it was really close. You can see it on the film that the red flag's out of my pocket and there's an instant in there, and it would have really been a difficult call. I think it was a difficult call for the official to say, okay, let's go for the flag is down. But that was, is what happens in replay situations is, you know, we're waiting for the information from upstairs. The players on the field, you know, kind of thought we had a fumble there, and they had a sense for it. And do you go with what the players say, or do you wait for the call? There was only seconds in there, and as soon as they said the ball's out, I'm throwing it. Boom. You know, it's unfortunate. We had another turnover opportunity there where we did knock the ball out. It was on the ground. We did get, you know, immediate recovery and all that, but. You got to hand. They did a nice job because they were in a hurry-up mode, and there was not enough. We just needed one more flash of a second, and we would have had another football right there, you know, which is a big deal. So sometimes that's how it happens, and you know, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. So that was an interesting one.
I'm sorry. Did you feel like you got the flag out before the play?
The flag was out before it was out before the play was snapped, but he's got to go boom, boom, back and forth, and in that I can see why he didn't, you know, he wasn't able to do it because it was really quick, it was really close, and I don't fault him at all in that, but you know, it was. I mean, you guys will have fun. Go look at it. You can see it. It's on the TV copy.
In the practical matter of it, does the official, do you almost have to alert him it's coming for him to be able to be recognize it?
Yeah, that kind of, there was an exchange there, and you know, with him. I looked right at him and I said, you know, what's the call? And he said that the play was the ground caused the fumble, I think is what he said. That's what he said. That's what they declared. And with kind of like this, so I went, you know, and I thought that meant, you know, for an instant, I should have known. I should have thrown right then. But we always wait till we get verification, unless Doug tells me that he caught it and he stayed in bounds. You know, we've gone through that enough times where when he says it, I give it to him. So yeah, he's earned that.
Other than Doug, did you come out pretty good injury-wise?
Yeah. Really, Doug was the one that was of note. There's a couple other guys that are, you know, they're in the training room right now, just with bumps and bruises and stuff like that. Won't know for another couple of days to see how they are.
Is Frank Clark okay? I mean, obviously he was kind of limited in preseason and things like that, or?
Yeah, he did have a sore elbow going in, you know, and he wore a brace on it, and but he's okay.
Anything else? Thank you.
All right.